Amendment in the nature of substitute. Ms. Stansbury.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think these markups are complicated and sometimes difficult to explain and understand because they get into technical details. So I want to try to break it down a little bit and actually with our current acting ranking member, maybe get a little bit into the details. So let me zoom way out here to talk about the entire enterprise that the GOP is engaged in right now and to lay down some facts. So first of all, what's important to understand is that over the last couple of months, the president has transmitted to the Hill a list of asks, and they really focus on making permanent tax breaks that were originally put into place in 2017 that are about to sunset. So these tax breaks are for billionaires, millionaires, mega corporations, and it's going to cost $7 trillion. And to pay for it, they want to try to offset some of those costs because our friends across the aisle are trying to claim that they're being fiscally responsible. But let's be clear, the math doesn't math because the offsets that they're seeking only add up to about $1.5 to $2 trillion. So if you do the math, 7 minus 2 equals 5, which is why this bill, the big bill that we're talking about, does not actually reduce the debt or the deficit. It actually will blow a hole through it by increasing debt spending by $5 trillion. And when you add it all up over 30 years, we're talking over $30 trillion in new spending for the United States government. So first of all, don't buy the baloney that this is somehow going to balance the debt. This is going to blow a giant hole in the debt. Now, let's talk about what is happening in this committee. So they passed the instructions out of the Senate, came back to the House. Very confusing. The Senate and the House Republicans couldn't agree on which package to go with, so they passed it all. So here we are now. Those instructions have gone down to each committee, and each committee now has to break it down in its own jurisdiction. So this committee can only work on things that are in its jurisdiction. We're in the Oversight Committee. Our jurisdiction is overseeing the federal government. And so this committee has been instructed through those resolution instructions to cut funding to supposedly offset cuts. So where are they trying to find those cuts? They're trying to find those cuts on our federal workers' backs. Now let's be clear, over the last 100 days, Donald Trump has fired over 200,000 probationary employees. Over 75,000 people have been forced to retire or leave the federal government. And now they're talking about taking away significant retirement benefits and turning the federal workforce over to an at-will workforce. What that means is that they want to strip away the protections for our federal workers so they can be fired at will at any moment. Okay, so that is actually what is inside this reconciliation piece that's in front of the committee today. And if you do not, as a federal employee, elect to be at will, if this passes, if this piece of legislation passes, you're going to have your retirement taxed, essentially, an additional 5%. So that means your pay is going to get cut unless you elect to be fireable. Is that correct, Mr. Lynch?
That is essentially correct, yes, absolutely.
So basically what this package is doing is extortion. This is called extortion. This is in the vein of trying to say that they're going to balance the budget, which they're not, because it's still going to cost the American people $5 trillion to pass this overall tax package for billionaires. And by the way, these trillionaires are going to get an additional, let's say, $300,000 a year off of their taxes, while the rest of us are going to actually see prices go up with tariffs, the cost of living expenses, all of these issues. They're going to use this piece of the reconciliation package to further punish the 2.4 federal employees who provide your Social Security, who help with your VA benefits, who make sure that your Medicaid is taken care of. This is all about cutting federal workers, punishing federal workers, making life harder for Americans, and destroying the federal workforce. And I strongly oppose in every single way, every piece of what's in this piece of the reconciliation package. And I yield back.